week. That's why we're doing this special YouTube Live. Maybe we'll do more in the future, but it's a special event because last week we just hit 1 million subscribers here on YouTube. Thanks to all of your guys' support and love for what we're doing, for helping us to really bring more fun ways to motivate learners all around the world so that they get out of the classroom, to go beyond the classroom and actually make English a part of their life. All right, and maybe today's lesson is going to be a little bit more difficult because there's no subtitles. We almost always have subtitles on the video, and today you don't, but I will go slow. I'll try to speak at like teacher speed, and hopefully you'll understand at least like 60 to 90% of what I'm saying. All right, so good for you for putting in the hard work. And if you're new here, as always, please remember to subscribe because every single week we help learners like you understand fast-speaking natives without getting lost, without missing the jokes, and without the subtitles. So just hit that subscribe button and the little bell down below so you don't miss any of our new lessons. And in case you just jumped into this and you're not sure what exactly we're doing today in this YouTube Live, so I actually asked you guys on our YouTube community for some questions for things that are difficult or confusing for you in English. And I actually chose the ones that were the most popular, so they got the most likes, and the ones that I just thought in general were the best, that might be the most useful for the most people. And so I want to keep this just to 15, 20 minutes so that people who don't have a lot of time will still be able to get some value out of this. So I'll try to go through as many of those questions as possible. And really thanks to all of you that actually spent the time to think up great questions and to write to me, all right? And I'll be sure to mention who the original question came from, but I'm sure that many of you will have the same question, all right? So without further ado, let's just jump into the first one, all right? So Julianne, she asked, what inspired you to make videos here? So it's not too often on our videos, they're usually very focused, so I don't talk too much about myself. But my name's Ethan, and I'm actually one of the co-founders of Real Life English. And Learning English with TV series is actually a part of Real Life English. That's really what we started with. We started about 7 years ago in Belo Horizonte, Brazil. And it was me and my business partner, Justin, who is actually in the live chat right now. So he can say hi to you all. And we're both from the United States, but we were teaching English in Brazil and we met there. And actually Justin with some other Americans and Australians that were living there in Belo Horizonte, Brazil, was organizing some English events. And I started going to them and I just saw, wow, this is such like a great way to help people to learn English, because we would get together in a fun space and do some different activities. And Brazilians, whose first language was Portuguese, would actually get to speak in English during these events, and it was in a fun setting. So we saw that like people would really change what they thought about the language because they were actually putting it to use. And maybe you've had some sort of experience like this where you've gotten to go somewhere and maybe speak with other people who are learning English or speak with natives, and you're just like, wow, this is actually like a tool for communication. It's so much different than what you learned in the English classroom, right? So basically from that, we started the company Real Life English, and we started just doing a blog and kind of giving advice to learners there in Brazil. And it started just growing all over the world with the community. And a few years later, we actually started experimenting with teaching with the TV series Friends. We were already doing this in our classes, and we saw that learners could get a lot of value out of it because they saw that it wasn't just grammar rules, it wasn't just vocabulary, but this was actually like the living and breathing language that the natives, that people in the United States or in the country that series comes from, that's what they actually are using. That's the real language. And that really it would help them to learn so much more about the language as it's really spoken. They could remember it better. And so we actually developed a course called Fluent with Friends to teach with this, to actually take the TV series Friends, which we met so many people who had really beautiful fluent English. And we asked them, like, how did you get such good English? And they would say, I really just love the language. I like TV series. I watched all of Friends. And we heard that so many times. They're like, there's something to this. And we actually looked into it, and there was a lot of scientific data showing that Friends is probably the best TV series out there for learning English, just because of the language that's used in it, the situation of friends getting together in New York City. And so we developed this course, and we saw learners from all over the world getting benefit out of it. And basically as an experiment, we decided to take the format that we had for the course and bring it onto YouTube. And basically we ran one experiment, we did one video, then we did a couple more, and they just started taking off, meaning that a lot of people started watching them and commenting and saying how great it was. And basically that's the history. We did that, I believe, 2 years ago. Maybe we're coming up on 3 years. And now the last year or so, the last year and a half, I actually took over actually hosting the videos, and we have 2 video editors that help me a lot, Max and Izzy. They help to actually bring all of the different content together and to make it into what you see. But it's been 2 years that I've actually been doing the videos and the voice and everything. And basically since then, we've gone from being just 20,000. I know some of you told me that you've been here from the very start, to being 1 million last week. So again, thanks so much for all of your love and support. This is like really huge that in just 2 years, we would never have expected to be able to make such a huge impact here. All right, so Julianne, thanks so much for your question again. And I'll move on to this one to maybe some more technical questions, but that's a little bit about the story of real life English and learning English with TV series. So the next question is watching your lessons and TV series and movies enough to make me fluent? Am I going to be able to speak like them, like people on the TV series, fluently and even better? So basically the answer, by the way, this is from Ahmed. Thank you, Ahmed, for this question. And the answer to this question is no, but. So I'll get to the but in a little bit. So no matter how many videos, whichever channel that you're watching, just watching videos, just studying books, just going to classes, that's not going to make you fluent. It's just impossible. You can watch hours and hours and hours of videos here on YouTube. You can study grammar books for hours and hours and hours. You will not get fluent. It's basically impossible. Just watching, just studying, it's not enough. But first of all, before I kind of like get more into this answer, I wanted to say what is fluency, because a lot of you out there, a lot of learners hear English fluency and they think that means speaking perfect like a native. So first of all, natives don't speak perfectly. We make mistakes all the time. And really being perfect isn't really the goal, because mistakes are just so important. If you want to keep improving, you have to make mistakes and you have to learn from those mistakes, correct those mistakes. And by doing that, that's how you're going to actually advance and get to English fluency. What is fluency actually? So it's not speaking perfectly. Fluency is the confidence aspect of it. So it's when you get to the point where you can have a conversation with someone and you're able to, maybe you don't know every word. Sometimes you're missing a word. Maybe sometimes you make a mistake. Sometimes you don't know the right way to conjugate a verb or to say something grammatically. But you're able to communicate in a very smooth, fluid way. If you don't know how to say something, you can explain it in a different way. And basically, this allows you just to have a conversation for however long. So be that 10 minutes, an hour, 2 hours, you're just being conversationally fluent. And of course, there's different degrees of fluency. And there's someone who can be really, really fluent and they almost sound like a native. And I've met people like this who, even without living in the United States, are able to get a level of fluency where they almost trick me into thinking that they're a native speaker. And it's actually kind of funny because, like I said before, we got the idea for Fluent with Friends because we met so many people like this who just had this beautiful fluency, and they had watched all of the series of Friends, sometimes multiple times. But that's fluency. So you could have a low level of fluency, and it would just mean that you can confidently have a conversation. And that should be your initial goal. So can you get this just by watching TV series, just by watching videos on YouTube? Of course not. If you want to be able to speak English fluently, you have to speak, right? You have to practice the language. And this might sound difficult because a lot of people think, oh, I have to speak it, so I have to go to America. That's really expensive. But no, you don't have to necessarily go to America. You can live in a small town where there's no native speakers, and you can be able to start to get practice and start to speak fluently. How do you do this? So the first way, if you don't have anyone around you that you can practice with, I imagine you live in a small village or something like that, speak to yourself. Actually grab a recorder and record yourself speaking and take different questions, different topics, and just start talking about it by yourself. This is really great if you have a commute. So a commute, if you don't know it, is when you have to drive or take the bus or walk to work or to school or whatever. When you go to the grocery store or anything like that, when you're basically by yourself, you can grab your recorder or even just in your head or even just speaking lowly into yourself. Just start speaking about something. Ask yourself a question. Think about something that you read in the newspaper and just comment on it. And although you're not going to get the feedback, you're not having anyone correct you, this still helps you get fluent because you're practicing taking what's in your mind and producing words with it. And a lot of you say like that it's really difficult for you to actually take what's in your head and speak it because it's like you just forget everything. Well, this is a really great way to start thinking in English and to get better at that, to get better at the actual speaking, taking what's in your head and being able to have it come out of your mouth. All right. So that would be the first thing. The second thing is don't just depend on natives. So, it can be really expensive to get a teacher or something like that. I do highly recommend that. If you can afford it, get a teacher because they'll help a lot. A good teacher will make all the difference. But even if you have other people in your English class, if you're younger, or you have other friends that that speak English, or if you're in a bigger city, there's usually like some sort of different language exchange or English speaking events that you can go to. Look for these opportunities. Look for other learners, even if they speak your own language, and be really proactive about being able to get the opportunity to speak with other people. If you do this, then you're going to really see, like if you imagine you can do this every single day or even just a couple times a week, just within a couple weeks or a month, you're going to notice a huge difference in your ability to take your thoughts, to take everything that you've been studying in English and actually be able to communicate with it. All right. So basically, that's the short answer. It wasn't so short, but just by watching TV series, just by watching movies, you cannot get fluent. But when you do this in addition to doing things to practice speaking, it will make a humongous impact on your English fluency. Why is watching TV series so useful, or movies? Because I know a lot of you enjoy watching movies too. I generally recommend TV series over movies because movies are really long. They dedicate a large amount of time to watch. And really TV series, you can, especially something like Friends or any sitcom like Modern Family, like Big Bang Theory, you can watch short chunks of it and that's all right. But with a movie, usually you want to watch it all the way through. It's very long. It's requires more time, which a lot of us don't have. But anyway, watching TV series is really useful because this gets you inside of that kind of native speaking world. So even when if you're speaking always to non-native, you have this input of the TV series where you're getting kind of that flexible everyday language that the natives use. All right, so I'm not going to say anything else about that because I think that could be a video in and of itself, just why is TV series so useful for learning? But that's kind of the short answer of it. And I think this leads greatly into the next question, which was from, actually there were two questions that were very similar. So Lena asked, what would you like to, sorry, let me ask that again. What would you like to recommend movies for learning real life English? So just to rephrase this, what are the best movies for learning real life English? So that was from Lena, and Almadine asked a very similar question. What TV series, except for Friends, probably because we suggest that one all the time, would you recommend for advanced students? All right, so thank you, Lena and Almadine, for those questions. So this is very similar. So what are the best TV series and movies? So first off, before I actually go into any recommendations, I just want to say that the most important thing is actually that you enjoy what you're watching. So in the end, I can say like, oh, these series are really great for learning English. But if you find all those series really boring, then I know it's not going to work for you because you're not going to watch them. You're not going to stick with it. So the first thing that's really important is if you enjoy a series that maybe it's not the best for learning English, but you just love it, you look forward to watching it every day, watch that series, watch that movie. That's the best one. If you don't like series, and I just said, series are better for learning English, don't watch series, watch movies or read or do the thing that you really love doing. Because when it comes down to it, the most important thing is that you have fun with it, that it's something that you look forward to. Because all of us know that experience of like going to a classroom and studying boring grammar and the repetition of it, while that can be useful for some things, it really does not give you the motivation that you need to keep going because learning the language is very difficult. So motivation is key. It's very important. It's crucial. All right. So the first thing that's very important, remember, you better enjoy it. Enjoy whatever you're watching. For learning, yes, some series are better than others. Some movies are better than others. And as I said before, series are probably better than movies for most of us. And for kind of the specifics on our newsletter, I'm not sure how many of you actually get our weekly newsletter, but you can sign up for that on our website at reallifeglobal.com. On our newsletter, we actually, I send it every week. And usually if I'm watching some TV series, I'll recommend it. And I'm watching different TV series all the time. So that could be a great way to get new suggestions if you want my advice on what TV series to watch. And if we have similar taste, that's important too. But basically, I want to give you something more useful than just like specific examples of series. And I think that something more useful is actually what type of series, what type of movie are useful. So there are like so many series out there about so many different kinds of themes, so many different types of topics. And while many of them are very entertaining, the language that's used isn't necessarily what you're going to find if you go to the United States or the United Kingdom. So that might be one of the first things you want to look at is like, what accent are you learning? Are you focusing on British English or American English or another English? Then probably look for series from that country. But then after that, you want to look for something that is kind of modern, that has to do with the English that's spoken today, because there's some great series like Game of Thrones, like The Crown, that are taking place, maybe 50 years ago, or in the case of Game of Thrones, it's like medieval English, but it's fantasy English as well. So at least for like English fluency, that's not very useful because, the vocabulary that is in Game of Thrones, there's stuff in there that I don't know, that I would probably have to look up in a dictionary, some of the words, because it's stuff that you never hear. And so that's kind of not a good place to be focusing your English learning energy. What you want to look for is maybe more sitcoms. So like comedies like Friends, and Almadine asked for ones other than Friends, like Big Bang Theory, Modern Family, How I Met Your Mother, Seinfeld. Any of these are really great because they take place in modern day, or more or less 20 years, but the English really hasn't changed that much to make a big difference. And they're about kind of real life situations. So it's the same things that you do. You probably very often get together with your friends at a cafe or at a bar, or to go do different things together. And this is kind of the English that's used in those series. And that's the kind of English that you need, is to be able to go probably and go talk to your friends, right? To have everyday conversations, to be able to talk about the weather, to be able to talk about current events, to be able to talk about things that are happening in your life, people you dated, your husband or wife. So like any of these that kind of have the everyday situations of life are really useful. And then another suggestion that I can give is that, like if you are looking for a specific kind of English, look for a series about that. So for example, if you work in science or maybe technology, Big Bang Theory could be good because there's a lot of that kind of English. If you're a lawyer, then you could watch a series like Suits or Law and Order that take place in the courtroom that are all about lawyers. If you're a doctor, then you might want to watch like House or Grey's Anatomy that take place in hospitals, and et cetera, et cetera. So kind of look for like, what is the kind of English I need and what series can I find that will contain that kind of English? All right, so I hope that was a useful answer for you. We also have a video that I did on our channel actually recommending specific series that I enjoy and that I think are really beneficial for English learners. And there might be some on there that you probably haven't seen, even if you really watch a lot of series. And that's probably due for an update because I did it about a year ago. So, maybe I'll have a video coming out for that soon. So thanks again for that suggestion, Almadine and Lena. And I'm sorry with all you guys, if I'm pronouncing your names badly. And just for time's sake, I think I will not answer the last question that I had here, but I just wanted to wrap this up by kind of saying thanks again to all of you guys for all of your love and support for our channel, for helping us hit this huge milestone of 1 million subscribers, for joining me here today, and for always kind of supporting our channel, for helping us to create this content that is helping learners kind of step outside of the classroom and make learning English an enjoyable and something that like really forms a part of your life, because really you're doing this probably to have like English not just be something that but something that you actually live with, you actually use, that brings a bunch of benefit to your life. So like we really want to help more people to do that, and you are helping us to help people do that. So thank you so much for that. And I just wanted to wrap this up to let you guys know I don't want you to miss out on a huge opportunity. So one, we help you a lot here on this channel, but another way that I've kind of mentioned that we help people a lot is through our courses. And right now, you just have a few more days until Saturday to take advantage of one of our best deals ever on our most popular course, Fluent with Friends. And with Fluent with Friends, in case you haven't heard about it, I talk about it a lot in our videos, but in case you're new here, that basically you will be learning for the next 48 weeks. You will accompany the first 2 seasons of Friends, and each week you get, along with a new episode, a 20+ page PDF power lesson, vocabulary memorization software so you never forget the new words that you're learning, and access to the Fluency Circle community. So you have a place to actually practice everything that you're learning with learners from all over the world. This is a really fun and engaging community where we're always doing different challenges, different types of activities, and you get so much more depending on the package that you choose. So I wanted to let you know, just until Saturday, to celebrate the landmark of 1 million subscribers here at Learning English with TV series, that we are giving you a huge 55% discount. Seriously, guys, this is one of the biggest discounts that we've ever offered on the course. So I highly recommend that you take advantage of that before it's gone. Because this is really going to, over the next year, the next 48 weeks, it's really going to take your English comprehension and fluency and your confidence to the next level. You're going to make new friends, and most importantly, you will be practicing and living your English with us, all right? So all you have to do to get that is click the link down in the description below. And of course, at checkout, use the coupon code MILLION, which million in English has 2 L's, so MILLION. Million, and you'll get that 55% off, all right? And if you have any questions, just send us an email at fluencyteam@reallifeglobal.com. All right, thank you all so much for joining me today. Thank you for putting up with those technical difficulties we had at the beginning. And now it's time to go beyond the classroom and live your English. Ah, yeah.